trunk is full of baby gear. It's getting so cold here in Canada. Some of you might be saying, you're a Finnish Canadian dude, what the heck are you doing complaining? But really feel like I should have been born in like an island somewhere, maybe like Hawaii or something. Morning workout, up the stairs every day. Actually, dang it, that reminds me, I was supposed to work out today. Maybe I'll do that after this work day. You thought I was gonna give away the code, didn't you? Hello? Anybody? This has been like a week of just me at the office all by myself. Nobody else here. Peter's just been off. Matt's in Japan, just here by myself. What do you do when you're at the office by yourself? You procrastinate. Are you dizzy yet? Because I am. This is a mistake. Not a good idea. Oh, actually not a good idea. Oh, I feel horrible now. Hope I don't vomit. Don't vomit. Oh. Oh, okay. Enough shenanigans. So we talked about why primes are so good, but I've also learned to realize that zooms are so good. Like, I really love zooms also. And if I'm honest, I'd say about 95%, if not more, of my channel has been filmed on one single lens. Just one lens. I'll show you. This guy. This lens is what 95% of my channel is filmed on. It is the 16-35 f2.8, and it is my favorite lens. Well, correction, actually, this guy is my all-time favorite lens. It's the Sigma 18-35 f1.8. So this guy's f2.8, this guy's f1.8. The only downside to this guy is that it doesn't do full frame. It's only for crop censored. So I gotta use this one. Didn't want my sensor to get dirty on the C300. I actually had to change lenses because this lens was on the camera for everything in the first part of this video. This is the lens for vlogging in my opinion. It's so versatile. 16mm is perfect for filming yourself, getting that nice wide shot, making the audience feel like they're right here with you, and also just getting rid of a lot of that shake. And then if you want some more cinematic stuff, a little bit better, you know, portrait shots and that kind of stuff, 35mm, 24, all those are really nice focal lengths that I really like. And to prove why I like this lens so much, I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna film for 5 minutes with just one lens, and let's see how many shots I can get in just 5 minutes. All right, gonna start the timer. I don't know if you guys can see that, but boom, 5 minutes. All right, time's up. So that was all shot in 5 minutes. That's how versatile this lens is. And now I didn't have somebody else to film, and I was running with the one wheel. I probably could have gotten way more if I was just filming somebody else instead of trying to film myself and put the camera down and do all that stuff. So it's versatile. I'm really trying to embrace this whole winter thing, but my hands are frozen, my Gorilla Prod is frozen, everything is frozen. Even my one wheel, I think, is starting to act up on me a little bit. Feels different right now. Yep, caught that on camera. Come back! Come back! Did I break my one wheel? Sure hope not. I really like my one wheel. Never mind. Just ran out of battery. I've never had it run out of battery. Maybe the cold is affecting it. Even my one wheel doesn't like the cold. Oh, it's gonna be a tough winter. It's a good thing that didn't happen farther from my office because this thing is so heavy. let's suppose I only had prime lenses while I was doing that little bit of filming there. I would have not gotten anywhere near as many clips with just primes because I would have had to change lenses. That would have taken up time. I'd get one shot and then I need the same shot with a little bit tighter or wider. I'd have to go back and forth on lenses all the time, and that's why zoom lenses are so good. They're so versatile. Not only do you save time, but you also save space because you don't need 5 different lenses. You kind of just need like 1 or 2. Ugh, my nose is running. Oh, gotta love winter. So yeah, when I'm on a hike, for example, or I'm traveling, I love having just my 16-35 because it doesn't take up that much space. I don't need a whole bunch of stuff in my camera bag, and then I also save a bunch of weight, so I don't have to hike up with 50 pounds of weight in my backpack. Instead, I just have like 1 lens, usually this 16-35. Also, it's really great working with zoom lenses when you're on a gimbal or a glide cam because every time you change your lens, you'd have to also rebalance. This way, you're using a zoom, you just balance it once, and you have a whole bunch of different focal lengths. That's gonna save you a ton of time, especially working with gimbals. Pro tip here is that I kind of just balance it in the middle point of the focal range. You're gonna be off a little bit on either side when you're changing zooms, but the gimbals are pretty good nowadays, so they can definitely handle it. So zooms are really good for gimbal work, like really good. And my favorite lens is the 16-35. When I'm on a gimbal, I have the 16-35 on there. Another great thing about zooms is that some of them even have IS, like this one. The Canon 17-55 f2.8 all the way through. This is kind of a random lens because it has IS. So it's a really versatile lens in that it has a crazy range, 17-55. That's like the ultimate range. If I could have that lens all the time, it'd be perfect. The only caveat here is that it's an EFS lens, so it doesn't fit on all Canon cameras. But it's really nice having IS in a lens, so when you don't have in-body stabilization, like on this camera, at least you have IS inside the lens. And with a combination of 2 lenses, you can have an insane range. You can have the 16-35, and then, for example, this guy, the 70-200, it's a beast. But with those 2 lenses, you'd cover such a nice range. Or you could have, for example, the 24-70 and then the 70-200, and you're covering from 24 all the way to 200, every single focal length with just 2 lenses. So that really speaks to why zoom lenses are so great. But of course, there's downsides also, and some of those would be their massive sizes. So this is a gigantic lens. It weighs a lot, it's big, it's heavy. Yeah, it covers a lot of different focal lengths, but it's big and heavy and also expensive. All of these lenses, well actually I don't know how expensive this one is, but this one is really expensive. Same with the 16-35. They're all really expensive lenses, and you're not gonna get as fast a lens. So these only go to f2.8. The primes, a lot of them go to f1.4, f1.2. You're gonna get a lot wider aperture on those guys. And also, one of the big things that people don't think about, especially when they're starting out, is if you have something like this, the 70-200, it's really tempting to just kind of stand in one spot, let's say you're filming a wedding, and just kind of like snipe different shots. You just stand exactly in the same spot and you just use like 200 and then the 70 that way and 200 that way and 90 that way. You just kind of stand in the same spot. Whereas when you're using primes, you need to move around. You can't just stay in the same spot. And that a lot of times leads to way better photos and way better videos because you're finding all these angles that you would have never ever found if you were just standing in the same spot, which is usually the most comfortable, most easy spot. But with a prime lens, you kind of have to like look around and find the different angles. So yeah, especially when you're starting out, I definitely do recommend trying out primes. So conclusions, which is better, a zoom lens or a prime lens? And the answer is neither. They're both really great. It just depends on what you're filming and what kind of style you're going for, really. Both are great, they just serve different purposes. So let's say you have all the time in the world and you need to get the absolute best shot in every single frame of your video. I would go for primes. If you have all the time in the world, go for primes. Those are gonna get you the absolute best shots. But then let's say you're filming a wedding or a documentary or something like that, I'd probably go for a zoom because you're gonna miss a lot of moments changing lenses, or because you just don't have the focal length that you need in that moment, your bag is somewhere else and you can't get to it, you're gonna miss a lot of shots if you don't use zoom lenses in those kind of documentary run and gun shoots. You're gonna need a zoom lens. It's really versatile, really handy. I think for a lot of YouTubers also, zoom lenses are a great way to go. It's one of those things that I've picked up from Casey Neistat is kind of letting go of making every shot look perfect. Sometimes it's way more important to focus on the story and get all the shots that you need to tell that story than making every single frame look insane. Case in point, you're on the top of a mountain, you have 20 minutes before sunsets, so that's not a lot of time, and you need to cover a lot of B-roll and maybe some talking and all that stuff. Well, it's gonna be way better to use a zoom lens because you're gonna get all of those shots. But if you're using, a 35 mil and then you put on an 85 and then 24, next thing you know, it's dark outside and you didn't cover your story. But if you're in Norway and golden hour is 8 hours, then go for primes. You got all the time in the world. Why not make every single shot look amazing? Unless, again, you need to hike 3 hours somewhere. Maybe you don't want 7 lenses in your bag. Maybe you just want the one. Okay, so if you're looking for prime lenses, I think I would start with a 35 mil. It's a really great lens, or maybe the 24, depending, and then go for an 85 or 50, something like that. Pair those two. You can do a lot with just those two lenses. And then if you're looking for zooms, I highly recommend getting this guy, the 16 to 35. If you're on a crop sensor, get the Sigma 18 to 35. It's cheap. It's a lot cheaper than a lot of the zooms, and it's f1.8. It's so good. And then if you need a more zoomed in lens, I'd go for a 24 to 70 or a 70 to 200. And again, these are expensive lenses, but I do recommend trying to save up and getting the f2.8s. It's definitely worth it. Why would you get the crappier version of the same lens? Just work harder, make some extra money. I always say buy camera gear used, especially lenses. Lenses are really great to invest in and to buy used because usually they're perfectly fine and they don't really decrease in value like camera bodies do, for example. Those are gonna decrease in value a lot more. So lenses are a really nice, safe investment, and that's why I think it's worth putting in a little bit extra money into the lenses, and sometimes even more money into the lenses than your actual camera body, because again, the camera body is gonna get swapped out every couple of years, but your lenses will pretty much stay the same for as long as you want. So remember, lenses are like cameras. No one lens is perfect for everybody and every use, but find the right one that works for you, and yeah, you'll be happy. Test them out, test them out. Okay, bye. Getting really good on these things. I should start like a hover shoe crew league, something.